We're cranking the furnace, and it sounds like a boiler room in here. I like it.
Yeah.
Gives me some Nightmare on Elm Street ambiance.
There you go.
I just need some drips,
Yeah.
some scratches, some other stuff like that. That's a little bit creepy. Do I need knobbed up? I think I need knobbed up.
You always need knobbed.
Our good friends at Rodecaster refuse to lower the price on the podcaster mixer that we want to buy for 3 years now, or whatever the fuck it is. It's still like $700-800, which is too much. I gotta always just buy another one of these. This has lasted a long time.
Right.
It still works well. It's just I always have to hit the knobs.
I would hope that if we say if we did get a new one, just that maybe it would last longer, since it wouldn't have the rough beginnings that one had. Like that one went through some shit those first couple of years.
Yeah, it did. Also, the Rodecaster's nice because you could record directly to it. So we wouldn't have to. I don't know. It'd be weird. We wouldn't have this setup with Audacity where you could see the screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like that.
Right.
I'm so used to doing all these edits and stuff, just having it like pre-programmed into it. I don't know what I would do with myself. Anyway, Spencer, I have multiple fronts of news.
Oh, that's good.
None of it's good. No.
Oh.
Really good. I guess one of it's.
I guess now that you bring that reminded me that already unburied my recent depressed memory. I also have bad news.
Okay, you want to share your bad news real quick? I know what it is.
Yeah. My babyface story
that we talked about. I think it was last. The episodes is just gonna come out. So
yeah, our year in writing and stuff episode.
It would be last week when this episode.
Yeah. The babyface story that I was talking about also got rejected from BAM magazine. So now I just don't know what to do with it.
I don't remember. Was that a good rejection or a bad one?
It was like a so-so one. It had it had a thing in there when it said they're having the next opening and stuff like that. So I don't.
Well, that is poop. Good news for me. I finally finished that Western story that I was writing. It wasn't I was writing, I was editing. I wrote it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I went through and I made it good. I think I made it really good.
All right.
So I'm going to submit. I was going to submit that to Dragon Soul Press. They have a Western anthology, which I feel would be a gimme.
Right.
But I think the problem is it is at the end of February, the deadline. And I'm planning on submitting this story to Starlight Pulp's next issue, which is not a gimme. It's not by no means guaranteed that will get in there. But it's one of those deals. It's like I probably won't hear from Starlight before that deadline. So it's like, do I want to get accepted by something else while I'm still pending on Starlight and then not get in Starlight? Or do I just want to, all my cards on the table, I'm going all in on Starlight, and then if they reject it, it's a 13,000 word story I'm not going to be able to get anywhere else because nowhere else takes Westerns that long.
Right. I mean, I guess you could do the old, maybe, submit it to Starlight and then submit it to Dragon Soul Press, and then if you hear from them first, just go, shoot Starlight an email, be like, hey.
Well, yeah, that would be the plan, but I don't really want to
do that.
Of course, if I had to burn a bridge, I'd rather do with Dragon Soul because they don't pay as much,
Right.
But I still haven't got my royalties from that fucking last one I was in, which apparently I got an email was their top 3 books of the year. And as you know, they put out 20 books a year.
Yeah.
So it was one of their top 3 books. So I should get some decent royalties from that, I would think. If this, I know I had a bunch of people buy it on my behalf. So I don't know. So there's that, but I'm very excited about that. I think it came out a lot more literary than not than I expected, but how it started. Like I was telling you off air, I added some character arcs a little bit and tweaked a little bit. Still pulpy, but I think the language elevates it above just a typical pulp yarn. So hopefully I'll have some luck with that. I mean, that's one I could probably submit to a literary magazine based on the writing, but is a matter of it being a genre Western. Though it's a Western as in a Cormac McCarthy story would be a Western. It's it's set in the West.
Yeah.
Though mine has some supernatural elements, but I don't actually flesh it out to make it so it's guaranteed. You don't know that if it's real or not. So I think that it's a fun story. What else, Spencer? Oh, we were talking about just random nonsense of our lives, right? Probably. I watched the Stranger Things finale.
Yeah.
You don't watch Stranger Things, right?
No.
I don't understand the hate it's gotten.
Okay.
Now, granted, it was pretty gay.
Yeah.
Because they spent
But weren't people mad that there wasn't gay?
Well, people were mad that it was too gay, and people were mad it wasn't gay enough. I think it was the last episode before the finale? One of them, one of the main characters, Will, comes out as gay, which he's gay the whole fucking time. But he finally comes out as gay. Problem is, the world's about to end. Literally, another planet or another universe or something is going to come crashing into the Earth. And they're sitting there for 10 or 15 minutes, no joke, while he's just coming out to everybody being gay. And it's like, Not the time and place. You had 5 seasons to do this.
And
Why now?
Was anybody in the group like, oh my God? Or were they just like, we know?
No, they weren't very surprised. It didn't seem. So that was, I mean, it was set in the 80s, but so that would be a bigger deal in the 80s, obviously. Why do I keep dropping off? I'm not pull the knob. Can I pull the knob?
Just don't pull too hard.
Ooh, that seemed to have done something. Yeah, so he, it was kind of gay. And there were some plot holes that were in it, but you're going to have that. The only gripe I really had with the show was there was this whole thing in season 5 about the military with Linda Hamilton being this crazy doctor that wants to get 11 and do tests on her and all this shit. And the military is present throughout the whole fucking episode, but they really don't serve a purpose at the end other than just being kind of a foil to their plans. And at the end, after multiple characters have murdered many military personnel and soldiers. And I'm not talking about just the soldiers. I'm talking about scientists, lab workers, just innocent people.
Did like the kids are doing this?
Oh yeah, just fucking Rambo style and gory as fuck. Shoot them in the head. So that happens a lot in this season. And then at the end, half the episode is just like an epilogue where it's just while the characters are just all fine and dandy. And it's just like, why the fuck did the military just let these people go? They just murdered everybody.
These murders children.
Well, one of the guys, he's just a grizzled Vietnam War vet, so he murdered people, and it's like, so let them all go. They had him captured at the end, and then just let them all go, I guess.
Mike was telling me that the black kid flat top wig was like terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like it would it looked bad. Like it would like be like it would move. Like whenever he'd move his head, it would like shake or whatever.
Some Gumby shit. Yeah. So I mean, as far as an ending goes on Netflix, that was one of the better ones.
Now, was it weird trying to watch that, thinking that these kids are still supposed to be teenagers, but are clearly like almost 30?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are 30. It was odd, but the thing is, like, that's one of those shows you have to suspend your disbelief because that's the whole point of the show.
Oh, yeah.
That is just pure escapism. So people that are taking that, like, real seriously, like, oh, this isn't realistic. Fuck no. There's Demogorgons. It's not realistic.
Now, since you have seen, but I know you haven't seen the new Welcome to Dairy show, but you've seen, like, the It movies.
Yeah.
I know that was always kind of, at least in the early episodes, where, like, kind of always got compared got compared with each other. Do you still think, like, do you feel like that's a fair comparison? Do you think one's better than the other, or like whole 80 monster kind of
It's all
thing?
the same to me. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. It's all the same shit. Speaking of Stephen King, though, I started watching Castle Rock the first season. Uncomfortable to watch show.
Yeah.
It is weird. I mean, I know it's supposed to be uncomfortable, but I just feel not at ease when I watch any of it. I'm just like, it's not scary. It's not, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's horror, but it's
very like tense.
It's just bad. Not a bad show. Just like when you're watching, you feel bad.
Well, because then also, because like I don't know how far you get into, but how far you're into it yet. But the Skarsgård character, like, he does such a good job of just being weird and just like
lurking.
Yeah.
Lots of lurking and looming because he's tall as fuck, and lurching. He does some lurching as well. A lot of L words. So I'm enjoying it. It's just one of those ones I'm just like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I just got to the episode where they introduced the deaf guy with the schism, the sound stuff.
Okay,
and he puts him in he has an RV with a soundproof room thing.
Yeah.
And he sticks him in there and shuts the door. But that guy was creeping me the fuck out. Because he was like doing his little sign language, and then the guy with him, I think his name is Will or Willie, and he's talking in third person, and he's talking for the guy, and he's like, oh, you startled Willie, but he was talking about himself, but that's what the guy said because he's interpreting, and that's a very odd dynamic. But then like the guy does speak at one point, and it's creepy, and it's like, I don't like it.
And I haven't watched the second season, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be young Annie
Wilkes, yeah.
Yeah, and in the hospital where she worked at. So
are they doing more Castle Rock, or is that it?
Just the two, because it's been a while since like those 2 seasons. I think were like before like the pandemic or like in the beginning of it and stuff. So I imagine that they're probably not. But it's so cool, like how they merge different things from Stephen King's universe,
Yeah, in the first season, one of the characters, Jackie Torrance, is Jack Torrance's cousin, but she only knows that he did something crazy in a hotel. She doesn't know any of the details, and she gave herself the name Jackie just to piss her parents off. Her name wasn't actually Jackie. Anyway, today we are doing our book of the month. It's an early book of the month.
Yeah.
We are talking about The Sugar Man by Nicolás Obregón. So I'm excited to talk about this. The only problem is, since this is an actual brand new book for once, I can't, and you can't, and we can't discuss it in depth.
Yeah, we can't do like a full deep dive.
Because this is one of those stories where, being a mystery, there's so much to unpack, and we could easily spoil lots of. We'll probably still spoil some of it on accident.
Yeah.
So I'll give a spoiler alert, but we're not going to give away the ending or the main characters or anything like that.
Which we should try to make a note of, like maybe like like a couple years from now to be like go back because it is a book that deserves like a deep dive episode. Like there'd be a lot of things to talk about and to get into.
Well, like you mentioned off air, this would be a perfect like Netflix series or something. Like to make a show or like a mock documentary, like a crime documentary or something. That'd be fun. Anyway, folks, stick around and we will be discussing The Sugar Man. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. Spencer refuses to ever do the intro for me when I'm sick.
Yeah.
Which I have been sick all week, by the way.
You should
Very sick. I can only finally now speak without dying. So it's just like Saturday to Saturday. So every Saturday, I guess I'm good for being recording, and then I'll be sick again.
Yeah.
With me as always, Spencer, the Burmese Baloney Bandit Church.
Okay. Just doing baloney.
Yeah. That's all you're doing with it. Stealing it. You're stealing it because you're a criminal, because we're talking about a book about criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, we are doing our book of the month, El Cicero de la Nieve. That's the Spanish version. It's a different title. Nicolás Obregón's The Sugar Man. The Spanish version, which I believe translates to either the Snow Whisperer or the Whisper of the Snow. It's
I remember you talking about that when you first put that out there.
If I am correct, The Sugar Man roughly translates in Spanish to Hombre de Azucar, something like that. Yeah, Man of Sugar. I don't think it's that cool of a title, probably. I don't know. I don't know how the Spaniards treat sugar. But anyway, Mr. Obregón wrote this book for Penguin UK. And we had him on the podcast many times. We discussed his podcast, Faceless.
Yes.
We've discussed Blue Light Yokohama was the first time he was on. And that was in our old studio when I think it might have been our first interview. Which is a hell of a way to do a first interview.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was our first interview.
Yeah. And then we read Sins of Scarlet, which I don't think we covered. I don't remember.
We might have covered it, but I don't think he was on.
He wasn't on
to talk about it. Yeah,
maybe a book of the month. You'd have to search our fucking archives. And Unknown Male, which I think I read that last year finally, and I don't know if we did an episode on that. Did we? Maybe not.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I don't know, but we have not done him justice thus far. So today,
but then we've also had him on separate other times of that too.
Yeah, we've had him on quite a few times. Again, he might be also not just our first guest, but our most frequent guest.
Oh yeah, he's the same person we've had on multiple times, other than maybe like Ashley.
Yeah,
and Ash, UK Ash.
Forgot about him. I wonder what he's doing these days.
I see him post stuff every once in a while.
He has long hair now.
Yeah.
He went full poet. He went full poet. He doesn't really do much with his podcast anymore. I don't see updates that much.
I mean, that's maybe if it's just like a Patreon thing, maybe.
Well, the year read this podcast, I think he mainly switched to focus on YouTube. Is what it was.
Okay.
The problem is he has been doing a lot of poets that I haven't read.
Yeah.
So it's like I know most of them are dead, but it's like I don't want to spoil them, you know? So today we're talking about The Sugar Man. Shall I read the synopsis for you, Spencer?
Yes.
Dakota Finch left the small mountain town of Nectar as soon as she was old enough, became a big city cop, worked homicide, put the past and her best friend's murder behind her. Now she's back in Nectar, sent in disgrace to the one place she can't cause more trouble. Only the body that greets her the first day on the job says differently. Because Dakota fears it's a victim of the Sugar Man, the killer who murdered her best friend, the crime Nectar's law enforcement wants to forget. Dakota's never been afraid of making trouble, but neither, she is about to learn, is the Sugar Man. Sugar Man.
Sugar Man.
First, we will discuss Dakota Finch. So this story is written in a very awesome way.
Yeah.
I really enjoy. I don't know if I could. I mean, I'm sure I could, but to write it as well as he did with every other chapter, or like not necessarily every other chapter, but a good bit of the chapters being flashback chapters. He alternates timelines.
Yeah,
that's rough. I mean, well, you asked me before. It's like, do you think he wrote one timeline that like
he
wrote the one timeline out and then the other timeline out and then just combined them?
Right.
Or did he do the alternate? Just write it linear style, which is okay. This chapter set in present. This chapter set in 1999. You jump back and forth. But it gives you a really unique look. One, it's a way to do cliffhangers in a cool way.
Yes.
Because you got a present day cliffhanger, and then bam, we're back in the past, and we're also...
And then you end the past one with a cliffhanger and go back to the present.
But the way he was doing it was...
Just edging all over the place.
The way he did it, though, was very difficult in that he was able to, let's say, you have a cliffhanger on a modern chapter, and then you go to the past, which is like the basis for that chapter. So say you have a character ultimately ends up doing something, you go to their, not necessarily origin, but you can go and led up to it 15 years prior or something. That's really cool. I would get, I don't know if you had a character Bible for this or not. Like I would be fucked up. Well, I would get lost.
Well, I was going to say that would have been almost one of like the Hendersons of like, because there were a lot of people to keep track of. And sometimes it could get a little like
muddied.
Which is like, overwhelming especially if that's something you have trouble with. Some people don't have an issue with, hundreds of characters in their stories.
I don't think there was hundreds of characters.
No, but
maybe 50.
Yeah.
So Dakota Finch is a big Detroit homicide inspector, detective. Not inspector. This is set in America. We don't have inspectors. We have detectives.
Well, that's what the Amish.
The Amish.
We call them.
They were calling her, not inspector. It was a Amish word for inspector.
Yeah.
German. I don't know. They're also not Amish. They're Vermilung or something. Some kind of offshoot. Amish. Super Amish.
Yeah.
They're the super Amish.
They're like the radical right Amish.
Yeah. So the story starts with Dakota Finch busting a perp, and she's a no-nonsense broad who... I'm trying to think of a contemporary counterpoint, like someone you could compare it to, a comparison, not counterpoint. Not working above the law, but definitely not working in terms of following the law.
Yeah.
Like, didn't she turn her body cam off?
Oh, yeah, when she beat the shit out of the guy?
Well, you know what? You mentioned how you were a little confused of when the present setting was, because I thought this was like 2013 to 15 set somewhere, the present tense, or the present day. They had body cams back then?
I don't know.
Now I'm confused. Now I gotta, let me research. Let me pause this. After Spencer's thorough research, body cams were used in 2013.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. I don't think it actually stated. I mean, it might have at some point, but I don't remember it stating the exact date of the president. But the book starts at 98. I think that's the first chapter set in 98. And I believe I remember reading that the president was 15 years later.
Yeah.
So that would be about 2013.
Which I was gonna, because I was thinking about this yesterday too, of just as an idea of using that as a style, like, because in a certain way it kind of makes sense, because like 10 years from now, 5 years from now, if somebody reads the book, it's not gonna be present day anyways. You know what I mean?
You could never write a present day book because you'll never be in the present.
Yeah.
When that book is published, no longer present unless you wrote it in the future. It's the only way to do it. Yeah. But then, are you clairvoyant? Do you know what the future will be? Some people have brought the future into a light that I wish didn't happen, but it did. It did come to light. This Dakota Finch is a badass character with a bad attitude and a worse disposition for drugs. Not drugs, but she does pills. She takes a made-up pill, I believe you said.
Yeah. But also, the guy that she beat up was like a fucking child killer, molester guy.
Well, yeah, so she's beating up good people.
Yeah, so...
She beats up a guy and almost gets herself killed. That's the main thing. She almost gets herself killed, and she is addicted to I believe you said it was a drug that came from the Iwata series. Like, it was a made-up drug from whatever is made up. If that's true, that's pretty cool, because then it's like shared universe.
Right.
I also mentioned, I believe there was a character, a forensics expert, if I'm not mistaken, who studied in Japan or something. I don't know if maybe that was like a nod to the Iwata books. But anyway, Dakota Finch gets shipped off after, the old, the kind of
the
cliche.
Punishment, yeah.
Hey, you're fucking up, but you're a real good detective, but we just can't have you beating up guys, so we're sending you to fucking Bumblescum nowhere.
Because they need help with a big case.
They have a big murder that nobody can solve, and we're going to send you there. No, by the way, that happens to be your hometown.
Yeah.
It's your hometown in somewhere shit Pennsylvania. One thing I really liked about this book is it incorporates, which I've never seen in any crime fiction, the Amish.
Right.
More specifically, like I said, let me see if I can find the name, which I did not look up to see if this was like a real sect of Amish or, whatever. But they're old German-speaking Amish by the name, like I think it's like the Versamalung or something. Something fucking hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I wasn't really accurate on or sure.
I pronounced it in my head different every time I read it.
Yeah.
But you just think of like traditional garb wearing, dark clothes, we only wear wool or whatever. No electricity. They didn't have electricity, right? I don't think so. No electricity and no modern conveniences. And these people do not leave their city other than to go, they send their young to what is called Fest.
Yeah.
It is like a festival in town. And it brings a lot of money, and they sell like dandelion wine and pies.
Yeah.
That's the only exposure these people have to the modern world, and they need to make money still, so that's where like some of the corruption might come in.
And most of them don't even speak English. There's only like a handful of them that know the English tongue.
And most of them are younger, except for like a couple of the elders. But what's really cool is I think the way not only their lifestyle is described, but we're going to skip around, but like Dakota Finch ends up investigating these people for a murder of this modern person who happened to be one of them, which that's one spoiler is because at the beginning you don't know she gets her face blasted off the shotgun.
Yeah.
It's just a body. They don't know who it was, but she traces it back to these people, and she goes into their compound, and they have a very weird religion. It's like this dead honey tree or something. There's like bees.
Where the life came from or something?
Yeah, they worship bees kind of and honey, which also goes kind of with the title of the Sugar Man because the body of Dakota's friend in 98 or she killed 98 or 90. It starts at 98, but she actually killed 99.
I think so,
Don't think the detail matters that much. Her face was dusted with sugar. This is when they found the body. And this new body in the present day was found in the same spot. That's why Dakota Finch thinks it might be the Sugar Man.
Well, that's why everybody in the town thinks.
Yeah, I think
because I guess they've had, when Dakota's been gone, there have been other kids' disappearances.
Yeah,
and it's always like, oh, is it the Sugar Man? Is it the Sugar Man?
Never found any bodies, but yeah, a lot of disappearances. The cool thing I thought was like when she goes into the Amish sect, it's like the way Obregón describes like the silence and the stillness and just like how different the world is. It's almost like it doesn't sound too bad.
With the glares of
then the way they look at her because she's dressed in modern clothes, and women are obviously treated a lot more poorly with less choices than they would be in the
well, nobody really has choices. It's like the counselor decides pretty much your place of what you do. If you work out in the field or if you're doing that, or, getting the honey or, whatever. It's like...
Which you get a bit
they decide who gets married to who, which is a big issue.
Well, that's a big part of the mystery, too, is you kind of unravel this Amish love triangle that might have led to the murder. And then some other instances of... See, it's hard to do this without spoiling it. I will say, so the murder victim's sister, who could speak English, she's young, comes into play, and it all wraps up in a very cool way. Like I really enjoyed how it wrapped up with like that storyline, and I wish we could just spoil it.
Right. I think another important thing to say to point out is in the flashback parts of the stories, Dakota and her friend, they're like 16 because I had to go back and check the beginning of the book at a time because I kept on forgetting because I knew like they were young, but I kept on forgetting like how young. I thought for a minute I was thinking they were like closer to like 13.
They were still in high school.
And because then some of the shit that they were doing, I was like, there's no way. But then when I went back and I was like 16, I was like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense and adds up a little bit better.
The first victim of the Sugar Man, Flora, who's Dakota's best friend, she has a crush on Dakota. She is written a lot more childlike than Dakota, but she's also more sheltered. Her mom is super religious to this like weird religious,
because Dakota
almost a cult,
has had a pretty shitty upbringing.
Dakota lives with her alcoholic mom who beats her, and her dad skipped out on her. So Dakota has a very rough life from the get-go. So she's automatically just a lot more mature, but immature at the same time. Like she does a lot of rash makes a lot of rash decisions.
Impulse control things.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of impulse control. She's a typical bad girl.
Which you also see play out in present day, too.
Yeah.
With her actions and how...
That was a character arc that was very realistic to me. Kudos to Obregón for being able to show like the trauma this girl went through when she was young and how that carries over to the fault she has in modern day.
And didn't feel like stereotypical or like...
It starts off, you almost feel like it's a stereotypical bad, cop character. Like not a bad cop, like the badass cop who works outside the law, vigilante style. But then you realize, like when you find out through the flashbacks how her life was, you're like, oh no, that actually fits. That's how this person would probably become.
He did the same thing with Hiawatha.
Yeah, you give the flashback. So it's like you actually add layers to the character over periods of time that make him a real person and fleshes them out.
What I liked about it, too, the flashbacks were like, so we have these these dead characters that you don't know anything about, but then through those flashbacks you end up caring about these characters, but then also knowing like the ultimate demise, which is like
which makes you want the mystery solved.
Yeah,
like you're invested in the character because you see their lives and you know it ends. You don't know how it ends, but you know it ends, and then that makes you more invested in how it ended. You're like, well, what the fuck happened to him? It's a very cool way to tell a murder story, I think. And there's one thing he did very well was, now I will say, about midway through, I figured out the murderer, but I never was sure until the end.
Right.
Because there's a lot of red herrings, and there's a lot of characters who fit the bill. There's a lot of characters introduced that just kind of throw you off, and you're not sure if they actually serve a more important purpose. Like we mentioned, there's a scene when a young Dakota goes to Detroit and search for her father, and she almost gets killed, but is saved by a pimp she was warned to avoid named Moonlight Jack. And then that character saves her, and then immediately that's just like, I think that's how, like, kind of a cliffhanger, but it never goes back to that. And you're like, ooh, is this like a major character in the story? Because there's a part where a good chunk of the story, you find out Dakota's with somebody, and then obviously that's upsetting Flora, but Flora doesn't know who it is, and then you don't know who it is as the reader, and you can only speculate. And as the story progresses, the past story, you're like, oh man, I bet you it was the murderer she was with, and she doesn't even know it because you get the little bit of an outsider's perspective. But until the story wraps up, one, that's not revealed yet, and you're just kind of guessing. But also, you never feel comfortable guessing because there's so many different characters that could fit the bill.
Well, and also, too, because there's also parts of both in the present day and in the flashback where it goes outside of Dakota's point of view.
Yeah.
There's like, I mean, it's third person, but like the story as going through that character, we as readers find out things that Dakota or anybody else hasn't figured out either in the past or present. So then there's also that stuff going on whenever, like, you might know more than what the characters know and stuff like that.
No, I was telling you off air, the only problem I really had, especially with the main reveal of the killer and stuff, was there's character interactions throughout. Like any good mystery, the character comes in contact with this person. Unbeknownst to them, it's the killer. Often in these stories, it's somebody they either trust or they just grew up with or knew. So in this case, it's somebody that Dakota has known, and being the small town, obviously she's probably going to know him. But the only thing was, her present-day interactions with this person did not fit with how I would feel she would be treating this person, knowing their history together.
Especially now as her being an adult.
Yeah, I think I did that good without spoiling it. But as an adult, I just felt like the interaction was strange. I just thought to myself, like, if I had this kind of history with that person, I don't think I would be, I don't know. I mean, I guess the way maybe it was left off, they felt a certain way, but like the character came across more heinous than I originally thought. So I just don't think that, present day Dakota would feel the way she does about him.
Well, that'd be another interesting thing to ask him, to be like when you set out, did you know who the killer was, or is like one of those kind of almost like,
I don't know, so the readers won't know.
Like Stephen King kind of thing, to where like I'm just gonna go and see where it takes me and figure it out then.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
I think that's one of the reasons why I have had trouble cracking a mystery too, because it's like which way like to try to to do that, like to try to wrap my head around it.
This story also had quite a few surprises that I didn't see coming, which I liked. We mentioned a death of one character that you're kind of not necessarily made to believe is scummy, but maybe just because of our internal biases, we just assume it was a scummy person. Turned out to be an innocent person that wanted to help and gets fucking killed in a very horrific way.
Well, there was a couple innocent people that bit it.
Yeah, there was a few that got that shouldn't have been killed that were killed. Which again, any good murder story is going to have that.
I almost said something that would have maybe gave it away. Yeah.
Don't do no spoilers. I also really felt that the character interactions between, and I don't know if this says anything about Nicolás Obregón being able to write teenage girls so well. But I thought
you get in the right mindset.
I felt the one being set in the late 90s in America, because Nicolás Obregón is not an American. He's a UK Spaniard.
Yeah.
British Spaniard. But he wrote what I felt was very authentic teenage girl characters, their interactions with each other, and also being able to incorporate an Amish character who feels very out of place but still is able to fit in kind of with them. I thought was really cool. And then you add some more Amish characters, some boys to the mix, who you get their biases towards the modern society that they're not infiltrating, but are like forced to be involved with during the fest thing. So I thought that was really cool how, and then you got them all drunk, which is fun. But I really, really liked how he was able to make that genuine, and like I felt like I was reading that how actual teenage girls would be.
And
it's
also like kind of like that thing. It's like it doesn't matter if you're these American heathens or uptight, Amish. That kids are kids.
Yeah,
they're
gonna make mistakes. They're gonna drink. They're gonna fornicate. They're gonna listen to crass music. In this case, I think it was Stevie Nicks, so probably not that. Fleetwood Mac's not that crass.
I was gonna say that would be another thing, like with being a good TV show, because like I don't know if I've seen so many I don't know if you can call them needle drops in a novel because you don't listen to the music, but there was like a lot of call out to different like songs as things were happening, and
I would have to ask him if that's his version of being like a Haruki Murakami, because I think in the Iwata, I mean obviously Blue Light Yokohama is a Japanese song, but I feel like in the Iwata trilogy there was a lot of music too, if I remember correctly. He seems like how Haruki Murakami loves incorporating the Beatles and classic music and stuff. Obregón seems to enjoy Fleetwood Mac seems like something that would be reasonable for
the time and place and stuff.
Yeah, I mean I know Fleetwood Mac was more like the 70s and 80s probably, but Flora's character feels like, because I don't think Dakota might make fun of her a little bit for listening to it. But Flora's character being kind of repressed in a religious family, or at least the mom being religious, she feels like she would listen to him, so that's genuine. Problems with the book, Spencer. Curb.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's the British spelling, Kerb, but you got this set in Amish America. Nick, it's CURB here. But this is British UK. I get it. It's a Penguin UK, because we were talking about also the quotation marks is written in the British style.
Yes.
Not the American style. But being set in America, it throws you. Just mainly the word curb is the one that you really it's a curb. No, I feel about that. How do you feel about that?
I did think it was it took me a second because I was like, that's not the way you spell it, right? Like I've been spelling it really wrong forever. Like,
to be fair, I didn't.
Why has Caleb never told me?
That's how it should be spelled.
Yeah.
CURB doesn't sound like that should be curb.
Right.
It's stupid. But to be fair, I don't think I noticed too many other instances of something like that. That was just the main one that stuck out. I thought was funny because he used it a couple times.
Yeah.
You mentioned how you were confused a little bit, but you also kind of rushed reading this past week versus me, who I started earlier, so I took my time.
Well, yeah, because you've sucking some asshole at this table just like, well, I might get it done by the end of the year, but I don't know. I don't want to rush it like in 11 days. And then like 2 days later, hey, Spencer, I'm done. You think you can have it done by next weekend? So we can yeah. It's a good thing that it was Christmas and then the weekend because like that's basically what I did for 3 days.
Well, that's a testament how good the book was.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't put it down. I really, I couldn't put it down. I kept getting all these cliffhangers and shit. And I was just like, I'll see what happens next. I was probably reading like 50 to 100 pages at a time near the end there. Yeah, other than maybe a little bit of muddiness with some of the, which might have been purpose. I'm trying to think if it was purposeful, though, because like there was a couple things where I had to go back and actually reread to make sure I got something. I was like, that seemed a little weird to me, or that didn't make sense to me. But then I think that might have been deliberate because like the character, the killer's reveal and some of the other character reveals, I was like, I think that had to be purposely extra opaque, you know? Like, you could kind of see through it, but you can't, like, you know, see the other side. I felt like that was done on purpose, so...
Well, this would definitely be one of those ones where it's, like, a better, like it'd be fun to reread it again, knowing and being... able to connect the dots as as you go again.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure we missed a lot of things when we were on the initial read, just because you're just with the fresh mystery. That was a very solid mystery, though. Very solid book. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as the Iwata, just because I like the settings in the Iwata trilogy.
Well, just with being Japan and like.
Well, one's Japan, one's Mexico and California, one's back in Japan during the Olympics. I remember Nick, when he was on before, talked about like the publisher really likes it when you have more of an exotic setting. The problem is, and this would probably fit better with the people who don't live in Southwest Pennsylvania. It's funny. It's like right when I started reading this, I just got back from I was in the Amish country for a day, just going to hanging out with the Amish and farms and shopping and drinking their fancy fucking coffee drinks and whatever else. But yeah, I was in Amish country, so like for us, it's not exotic. But if you're from, I don't know, let's say you're from California, seeing somebody riding down the road in a horse and buggy, that is different.
Well, I was wondering, if ever, like, in Europe, if there's, like, not Amish, but if they have, like, a kind of Amish thing over there, like a sect of people that like living in an older...
There's a few. There's, so, like, the Russians, they have monks.
Yeah, okay.
The bearded monk guys, and then you have, like, the super Jewish, like... Not like the New York Hasidic Jews, but like something like that. But they have like a lot of different, I don't know, like England. I'm sure every country has some kind of, super religious small, like Japan has a million cults.
But like as that, like we
closed off society.
Closed off society. We live off the land.
Yeah, a lot of Eastern Europe has those. Like the bearded monk types, and they live in not cathedrals, monasteries.
Yeah,
there's a lot of monasteries.
Well, I guess
not the bald-headed Shaolin monks.
Yeah, that's what I always go to whenever I hear.
No, Russian and Eastern European monks are different. Same but different. They don't do kung fu.
No,
I don't think.
Could you imagine Russian kung fu?
John Wick, Baba Yaga.
Yeah,
that's how you get that.
Yeah.
So, which we usually do at the beginning, we did not do for this one.
Okay, because we wanted to get into it so bad.
Whiskey shots. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was leaning more towards a 4 initially, but because I couldn't put the book down. And again, we mentioned this a few times. I really like Nick's writing style.
Yeah.
He does a great blend of literary and pulpy, almost like a Raymond Chandler. Like you get like, oh, this is more like a crime. Yeah, it's a crime story, but it's written in a more literary way. But you still have some of that pulp language that I love. He had a lot of great. I wish I should have highlighted him. He had a lot of great lines in here, though. And I think you mentioned this off air. What might have deducted half a shot for me was which I did not find in any of his other works I've read, was some repetition.
Yeah.
Now, maybe this is a big thing as writers that we've been picking up recently in the last 4 books of the month now. I think we've mentioned this. I don't think he had too many characters like Sign or anything, but he did have some characters. He reused actions.
Or what I noticed is that like Dakota would say, and in language it's not as bad because it could be just like a verbal thing, but like
in her dialogue, you mean?
Yeah, she kept on saying like down the years or something like that, like it's like through the year, like down the years, like you haven't heard anything from somebody down the year, like through down the years, like I noticed like that kind of stuff, like a little bit. There was some extra, but then.
See, with dialogue, I tend to ignore that, so I didn't even notice that because I'm just like, because a lot of people, in real life.
I said that, they repeat themselves or say the same thing.
But there was a lot of character actions. It wasn't a lot. That's being hyperbolous. It was a few instances I noticed where some character, and it might not even be the same character. That's when it's like more egregious for me. Is like, let me talk about Paulie Cooley. One's I think the black clenching and unclenching of the fist. Like if it's one character that does it, okay, that could be a character trait. But when you have like 5 characters doing that,
everybody's clenching their fists.
It wasn't clenching, but there was I forget what it was. There was a couple different things in this book I noticed throughout the chapters, like a couple characters were doing. And I don't know if he had a deadline and it was just more of a rush thing. I don't know if he had the same. I'm assuming he has the same editor. Maybe it's just one of those things like, yeah, it's still like the reader's not going to care, you know? Again, this is like what some of the writers notice.
And also, again, through like a almost 400-page book to where like
you're going to reuse some things, yeah.
To where like with like the Paulie Cooley, where like a lot of things we read of him has been like smaller things. So it's like, well,
it's more noticeable when every character's sign in a 200-page
book.
Yeah, like
you can come up with something else, like.
Hey, I just got a date, 2013.
Oh, wow.
I lost it immediately, but I opened it to 2013, and then I lost the page. There is an instance, Esther side. There was a few sides in here, but I felt like they were used a little better than some sides. This is one of those ones, again, if we ever did like a Writers on Writers series, which I think would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, let me hit this knob.
Knob it.
Come on, baby. Okay. If we ever did like a Writers on Writers series, I hate dick face. Sorry, I just like the dialogue. I really like girls calling each other dick face.
Yeah.
Young girls. If we ever did like a Writers on Writers series, it would be cool to like go back and reread. So like if you're, it's like I know Nick wouldn't be offended by like, hey Nick, you notice you use sigh 4 times in this chapter. Like I think that'd be cool just to reread a book and be like, what were you thinking when you wrote this line? Shit like that, or just point out it's like, hey, because that was like if somebody was willing to do that for us too, like that would make you a better writer. For instance, I shared that one video, words to delete from your.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you watch that, but I went through my story I was working on, and like the one, like the something, that was one I used a couple times, and I remember us changing that in your last story, and I was just like, yeah, I use a few of these too often, and I had to get rid of them. That was another one. I was like, I didn't even know that was problematic. Glad I do now. But yeah.
There's a lot of those videos I still have to, I started to watch but didn't get to finish yet. But like I've looked through his like YouTube page and it seems like he has like a decent amount of good videos.
Yeah, I haven't watched one of those guys' videos that was boring yet. So I should probably watch more of them. So it's one of those things I don't like taking writing advice too often just for the fact that I don't want to change my writing style. But he seems to post like the kind of stuff that is more universal. It's like, no, this is just to be a better writer. Whereas some people, it's just like, oh no, this is advice you should follow. And it's like, not really. So anyway, The Sugar Man. Good book.
Yes.
Highly recommend it.
Like I said, I would, before I was saying off out, I would definitely read another Dakota
French novel.
Yeah, novel. That would be pretty cool, I think. I would like for him to do a couple detective novels and then do like an Avengers where they all the Dakota, Iowata. We said before the I can't remember her name now, but the lady detective that shows up in the third mail. And I would read a book about her, but have everybody come together to solve some big mystery somehow. I don't know how you'd make that work, but
I think she was like a British inspector.
Yeah.
The sassy black lady. Or no nonsense black lady. British lady. Yeah, that'd be fucking cool. Just say I have an Avengers assemble to solve a giant Russian murder.
Yeah. It has to be something international somehow.
I don't want to drag the episode out much longer, but I will say he probably had to do a good bit of research for this.
I would think so. Well, wasn't he talking about coming over here for like to do? I wonder if he ever did that.
I don't know. He had to spend some time in the Amish country, I would think. Anyway, folks, if you like this episode, we'll be doing it again soon because we are going to be reading David Scott Hayes, The Butcher of Nazareth. That should be coming in soon. He's sending us copies. And swag.
Oh.
He told me he's sending us swag, too. I'm pretty excited about that. I was just going to buy the book, buy a couple copies in February when it comes out, but he messaged me and was like, hey, I could get you the book. I was like, yeah, go ahead. We'll read it sooner then.
Yeah.
So that's the only problem with doing that one is we're probably going to be doing it, or at least recording it, or at least reading it. At least reading it before it's even out, I would think. Because I should be getting that, I think, maybe tomorrow. I got a message. I got something coming in the mail, so I'm hoping it's that. But yeah, we'll be reading that. So if you want to check it out, that'll be our next book of the month. I'm excited for that. It's like a horror, fucking weird. I think it's gonna be weird. Spencer's OnlyFans. You are Burmese, right?
Yeah.
Not Bulgaria.
No.
Not the Bahamas.
No.
You're the Burmese booty bandit.
No, it was
the Burmese bussy bandit.
It was like baloney or something.
The Burmese baloney bandit. I want to use bussy for something. Beans full of bussy. Brokeback Mountain. If you want to check out my work, CalebJamesK.com. I don't have much going on right now. And you can check us out at DBW Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We thank you for listening, and we will check you out next week.